Welcome everyone. I'm Balu from DAOLens. I have my colleagues Vikram and Yash also here. We have floated some bounties with Aragon for the DAO Global Hackathon. So we thought we'll talk about what we do as a company as well as our bounties as well. So Yash, do you want to get started?
Yeah, Balu. Hey everyone, super nice to have you here. All right, perfect. So what I can do for all of you is that I can walk you through that what DAOlens as a product is, what you're building upon, and then we can slowly migrate into the discussion that what we are expecting in the bounties, what you folks can build upon. If you have any ideas which you have been thinking upon, which you want to discuss, if you need any support from our team, then you can tell us in whatever capacity, and in whatsoever capacity, we would love to help you and assist you for that. That being said, let me share my screen, and Balu, let me know if it is visible for us to get started. Just give me 1 second. Folks, is it visible?
Yes.
Lovely. Cool. Let me just put it aside. And all right. So folks, what is DAOlens essentially? So imagine in the space of DAOs, Mali, just can you confirm that we are seeing DAO manager on the screen right now?
Yes, you are.
Perfect. Lovely. So DAOlens as a company, we built a different suite of services. These suite of tools essentially focus upon enabling DAOs operations, their creation, their management, and whatnot, right? So we are on the mission to enable a DAO successful and to create DAOs as the future of work. We believe that we need a lot of many different examples where DAOs are successfully operating and are unicorns and decacons tomorrow. For this, our share of contribution is that we create these different tools which can enable into different life cycle of a DAO management. One of the tools which you want to talk about today is particularly focused upon how do a DAO manage their day-to-day operations. What do I mean by that? So what we offer essentially is that imagine this tool which we call DAO Manager as a one-stop place where any different operations which your DAO is required to conduct, you can take care of it at this place. Whether it's a project management of all the different projects your community is taking care of, whether it's all the different bounties which you run inside your DAO, whether it's a grant if you share it across with the different community members, all your proposal management system, all your courses or learning materials, your onboarding solutions, your events which you conduct within the community or for outsiders in the community, all the different sub DAO structure, everything can be plugged inside one single platform. How do we do that, right? So what do you see out here is a primary navigation, which essentially talks about the discover section, the ability to create a new community or a DAO, and then different workspaces which you're a part of will get reflected out here. Within a workspace, the different subspaces which you're a part of would be here. You can always search across the platform, have different notifications enabled for you, and have the profile sections available. I'll just walk you through that what's happening, right? If you go to the discover section, you see all these different categories of all the different communities. The communities can be different type of DAOs. It can even be an NFT community or a gaming community, social community, or protocol available on the system and whatnot. We have like quite a few and a long list of all the different protocols and services which have been active on DAOlens. Let's go inside any of these workspaces. I click upon DAOlens. I have this kind of a view. I am taken to the overview page. Imagine overview page as the system where it's like a landing page for your workspace, right? For your DAO. So you can add all these different widgets, whatsoever of your liking. So you can add a widget which talks about your DAO that, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what a mission statement and vision statement looks like. You can add a widget about the announcement in your community, the widget about the community documents. You can add a widget about that, how your token is performing, or maybe what are your primary active contributors in your community, what the different rewards are there, or maybe NFTs are there in the wallet of your community. So at this place is the place which you can customize as a main landing page for your entire workspace, entirely customizable. You can play around with this and create different widgets for yourself. What do we have in the second tab is essentially the list of all the different members. So what all different, at what different positions inside the community they are in. So you have a gamification system inbuilt where you see the different levels and XP point people have earned and all the different people who are the part of the community. Moving forward, and this section is where is a plug and play module system. So what do I mean by modules is that let's assume you have a DAO which have an active bounty program running across. You can enable this module, and in just a couple of minutes, I'll show you that how we can enable and disable these. But you can just go into the settings, enable this particular module, and then you have this entire dedicated bounty management system available just for you. You can see all the different available bounties, completed bounties, missed bounties. You can, as an admin, go and create the bounties and label it anything. Let's say a DAO hackathon competition. And then have the type of the bounty. You can decide upon that, whether you want a straightforward submission, or is it a Twitter task where you would ask people to like, share, follow, tweet, and whatnot to you. It can be a Discord, Telegram, n number of different categories are available. You can gatekeep these bounty that, hey, I just want this bounty to be available to only, let's say, to all the members of my community, or maybe I wanted to be available for someone who's having n number of Polygon tokens, or n number of, let's say, Ethereum like within their wallet, and or maybe my DAOlens token within their wallet. So you can define any kind of complex gatekeeping at the bounty level. You can define the award that, hey, I want to give the reward of, let's say, uni tokens, and like 1,000 uni tokens if someone completes this particular bounty, or maybe a particular NFT which you want to reward. You can add the details of this particular bounty. You can add that how much XP point the winner of the bounty earns, and you can just make that live. Once the bounty is live, you can just go inside of it. You can see all the different submissions people would have made out there. Right in the submissions tab, you can approve a submission, give them a reward, and take them forward, and n number of things, right? Similarly, you can go to the project section. Now, this is a section which is a dedicated task management system for your community. You have all the different projects running active in your workspace. You can go inside any of these projects. You can describe what's happening inside this entire project. You can add different tasks, have statuses of them, end date reviewers assigned to all the functionalities which a dedicated task manager would have. We have just enabled it out here at the project sections. You can then go to the proposal section. Imagine proposal as that particular place, which is a two-way sync between the snapshot and DAOlens. So any proposal being created out here will get reflected on snapshot, and the vice versa. You create it on snapshot, and your community members can come and vote upon this as well. So you never lose the context upon that. You have courses available for yourself. So imagine a new person comes to your community, you can have a community onboarding course, or maybe you can have some knowledge materials floating along for your new members to help them understand your protocol better. So you can have a course created for stable coins. Within that course, you can have different chapters. So it can be a document, it can be like an Excel sheet, it can be different tasks, it can be different videos. You can surface them out, configure this course, reorder them, provide XPs to the people who complete this course, give them NFTs when the course is completed, and whatnot, right? So you can go to document section. Document, imagine it like a gated Google Drive. What essentially you can do is that you can keep all your community docs available out here, but then you can gatekeep those docs that, hey, only my developers or the people who have development role within my Discord server should be able to access this particular folder, while only my new members or someone who has a newbie role in my Discord server, or let's say someone who has less than 10,000 tokens of my DAOlens workspace should be able to access this. So you can have n number of complexities of gatekeeping within this particular folder structure. You can keep it open, you can keep it gatekeeped. You can go to events. Events is you can conduct you can just host different online and offline events which your community might conduct. So you can go create new, add the title of the event, add a cover page, add event details, date, time, time zone, where this event is happening. You can attach that particular link or location. You can add different hosts, and you can even link this particular event with Discord. As soon as if I turn this particular button on, this event will be reflected in my Discord server as well, and people will be alerted as they are in the Discord community. So it's a two-way sync between Discord and DAOlens. Tomorrow, if you create an event on Discord, then also it gets reflected on DAOlens platform again, so that wherever your community member is, they never miss upon this context which is happening. You can go inside, let's say, DAOlens workshop, and then you can see all the different details. You can have this page shared across on their social medias. People can come across, they can register, they can show their interest on this particular event. And more importantly, they can have their entire discussion. Let's say they have some feedbacks for you, or maybe they just want to get some clarity about the location of the event. They can just have this discussion, ask you questions, and can resolve them here itself. The spaces section is pretty interesting, and this is something which aligns with how the DAOs operate in the like in majority of the scenarios, which essentially means that within a DAO we many frequently have either sub teams, subgroups, sub workspaces, guilds, whatever you may call it. But essentially within DAOlens workspace, let's assume there is a marketing guild available. Then you can go and add yourself within this community. What we provide is that within any of these workspaces, right? So I was in DAOlens, now I'm in marketing guild, where the guild itself has a very dedicated section of its own. So all the members within that guild can again manage their projects, courses, documents, bounties, whatever feature the parent workspace had, they can replicate it for themselves as well, and they can operate as an independent like a group, but they can also have a two-way sync between themselves and the parent workspace which is available, right? Once you can go back to the parent, you have the discussion forum. So you can go and create different posts upon it. It's a very typical discussion forum. You can like, upvote, and comment, share it across and whatnot, right? So this was just one workspace. Imagine if I'm being a part of multiple different workspaces, so I can join and let's say be a part of Give It community. I join this particular community, and as soon as I do that, it's being reflected here as well. And at the profile level, so you see this is my profile and I see this notification. So these notifications comes to me across different workspaces I've joined, and so I don't have to jump across different servers to see that what are the unread messages or what are the activities happening across, because I can see at my profile that, hey, this is a discussion which is happening. We can share different kind of information within two workspaces that people might be working, and they actually do in the real world, right? That they are a part of different DAOs. How do I take care of one reputation which I have built upon, let's say in DAOlens, to Give It? Can be a very interesting opportunity to explore. How does this notification happen on different devices? Again, a pretty interesting opportunity to keep the members engaged, to keep them updated and alive within the community, right? So n number of things. So what we have also launched, and which is a fantastic thing, something which we are receiving a lot of applauses. I'm being boastful, but I really love this. So you can go inside any of these channels of discussion forum. You see all the different posts available, fair, simple, sweet. But what we have done at the top, you see this some funny things happening. You can just click upon it, and this is the AI which we have built, like a DAOlens AI powered by ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 3.5, our own internal sentiment detection model, and our AI model which we have created for this. You can ask this anything, whatever is happening inside this entire workspace. So imagine it is exactly saying that you are in a subreddit. You ask it that, hey, tell me 5 ideas about the, like, which I can post in this subreddit. For us, it is a particular channel, like a Ethereum channel, which is there in DAOlens workspace. What it is doing essentially, it is going across all these different posts which different users would have written, all the different comments which the users would have had in this entire like channel. There, it is going and compiling this information, understanding it for like what the context is, how people have interacted, what's the priority of it. And based upon what's been working inside this entire workspace, it will contemplate that information and will give you different ideas and suggestions for the same. It takes a little bit of time because it depends upon the number of discussions which are there and so on. And that can be fast tracked when the community is active. We enable more servers to be available on like of GPT for that particular workspace, and it starts reflecting it out. So if you give us a couple of few seconds, it should reflect out the different ideas which it would generate for this post. So folks, why meanwhile it is happening, and yeah, here it is. Yeah, right. So what it has done is that it has reviewed all these different posts, given you that this is what the different ideas you should focus upon if you're writing or discussing anything in this entire channel. You can go and create a new post, and what it will do is that it will copy that information and it will take it to your post editor so that you can decide upon that, let's say, I don't want this entire information to be available. Maybe I remove it, I delete it and whatnot, right? So I can do that. Then even while you're creating or editing a post, let's say I select, let's assume this is something which I have written, but I can select this information. Again, I can use Robin. I can ask it to summarize the information, translate it into different languages, check the grammar of it, rephrase it, change the tone of it, make it shorter, longer, create a checklist, create a poll, n number of things. Imagine how powerful a checklist feature is that you are working upon a project brief or a PRD, and based upon the context what you have written, you just click upon one button and it gives you the checklist that these are the tasks which you should be doing in this project. Imagine how powerful a poll feature is, that you're writing a proposal draft to be discussed within the community off chain, and you just click upon the create poll button. It analyzes your proposal and create the recommended poll options which you should be having run inside for that particular proposal, right? So you can do that, and a number of other things. You can post upon this. As soon as you do it, it will be reflected like within this entire workspace. So here is my post. I can go inside this post. Again, at the post level, I can use Robin. I can say that, hey, write me the comment for this post and whatnot. And as soon as I do that, it will draft me a comment, which I can just post it out here. So like a beautiful solution, we are scaling Robin across these different modules as well. So imagine in project management system, Robin comes up and you give them a brief that, hey, Robin, I'm working upon redesigning my website. Can you draft me a project brief? It drafts you that. Can you allocate these tasks which you have created to the people who have bandwidth in my community? In one click, it does that for you. You can use Robin at bounty management system that, hey, Robin, this is the bounty which is up and running. Can you evaluate the submission of the people based upon these 5 criteria? It evaluates the entire submission based upon the criteria which you give them, reorders or arranges the people or the submissions based upon those criteria. And then out of 200 different submissions, you as a community manager would have to evaluate just 5 of the top submissions and you can reward the winner already. So it reduces your workload like anything. It enhances the people's experiences. And that's what we have been building across with Robin AI. So folks, this is a very comprehensive tool, like one of the most advanced tool in the space of DAOs, which exists in the market. Whenever there's a DAO operations, probably there are hardly any tools which are existing, which match upon the level of detailing which we have been working upon in this entire tooling while we built upon. We have a lovely team of quite a lot of engineers in house as well, working from different areas across the globe, primarily based out of New York, San Francisco, India as well. We have a couple of folks there. So that's what we have been up to. If you have any doubts, confusion, do let me know. And then I would love to hand it over to Balu for discussion over the exact bounties which you have from DAOLens.
Thanks, Yash. Folks, any question on the tool? If not, I can move on to the bounty section, which I'm sure all of you are here for, right? Can you see my screen? Yash, can you please confirm for me?
Yes, sir, it's live. I can see the Notion doc.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So hope you enjoyed that demo of DAOLens DAO Manager. And I mean, if you when you were listening to the pitch by Yash, you would have understood that we as a company is very bullish and very optimistic on a lot of things around DAOs, right? One aspect of it is how bringing everyone into one place, how making sure that operations in DAOs are not scattered, how communication has to be facilitated, how we have to build out engagement systems for DAOs to become more active so that it doesn't become a situation where a DAO has 1,000 members and then 4 people end up turning upon a call, right? So we want more participation, more communication, more engagement. These are some of the things that we believe should happen, along with great business models, as well as, you know, revolutionizing the new revolutionizing technology of AI, how we can implement that in DAOs. Now, let me take you through the boundaries that we have in place over here. So you can see some touch points from here to there as well. Please feel free to raise your hand, ask me any doubt that you have, or if you want to wait till the end, we can do that as well. Of course, this page is something that we have posted on our Twitter, which has details of the boundaries, but Aragon has also posted about it on their website with just as much detail. I'll take you through one of them one by one. So the first one is DAO interoperability. So this is one of the aspects that I was saying that we at DAOLens do believe that DAOs have to communicate better. They have to get into a system where people do not feel like they're isolated or working in silos. So essentially the goal of this bounty is to ensure that how can you make 2 DAOs speak, or how can there be a situation where the resources of 2 DAOs are accessible to each other, or how can you know that, okay, there is a group of people who are working towards a goal that is complementary to our goal, but since they are working in a different DAO, that will require me to move away from this DAO and join that one and then be present in multiple places at once. But instead of that, how can we go about creating a seamless integration of DAO interoperability? Now, this is the problem statement. Of course, in all of this, we have given our standard set of submission requirements about how you have to submit it on DAO Manager, you have to create your GitHub account. I'm sure many of you have already done this hacking many times. So all of this is, your run-of-the-mill stuff. But what I want you to think about, or what I want you to focus on, is the problem statement. If there are two DAOs working and they are working on complementary problem statements, how can they communicate with each other to bring their goals into one vision? So that's essentially that. Like, I'll give you guys a second to read through the submission requirements and judging criteria, which is pretty standard run-of-the-mill stuff. You need to have the code pasted, you need to have a description of what it is done, what is the clear instructions on how to deploy it. Are you planning it as a plugin? Are you planning it as like a standalone app? Are you planning it as something you're building on the chain? All of those things as well. Any question on the first bounty? All right. I'll give it one more second. Okay, cool. I'll move on to the second one. The second one is mobile notification system for multi-community members. So this has a similar problem statement as the first one, right? But it comes with its own unique use case. So we were talking about the fact that, look, if I'm working in a DAO and there is another DAO where there was something complementary, I'll have to join that as well. But there are scenarios where a lot of contributors are members of multiple DAOs. Now, how do they make sure that they are in touch with everything that is happening across, right? So most of you would have used Slack or Trello or Monday.com, etc., where you can be part of multiple projects, and there is a single, there's a single way for you to keep up to date with what are the pending threads, what are the pending notifications. Here is my combined list of due tasks, etc. Now, the same thing, how can you integrate this across multiple DAOs? Again, listen to the problem statement aspect of it more than the deliverables and the evaluation criteria. If there is someone who's working on multiple DAOs, how can they, instead of logging into Discourse multiple times or going to their desktop, going to their mobile, checking their progress across multiple applications, what is the way to let people know about important decisions, important milestones happening in multiple DAOs on phone? So this is the problem statement. I'll open up the deliverables and evaluation criteria again. Just keeping it open for a second for you guys to go through. Of course, it goes without saying that when you're building a mobile notification system, we need to have the ability to customize, just like the one in our phone. We should be able to prioritize what is important. For example, if you are a member of 3 DAOs and if the notification pings you every time there is a message in the common channel, then it probably won't be the most efficient way to go about it. So maybe think about how can you classify these notifications itself? What is important, what is medium important, and what is, routine stuff, right? And how maybe think about how can you integrate things like events or spaces being run by your DAO and as part of the notification system as well. Any question on this? One last thing that I want to say about this particular boundary before we move off is that the main catch or the main takeaway for this particular boundary would be the adaptability aspect of it. How can you build a solution that seamlessly integrates with everyone? Because mobile being the common denominator or a cell phone being the common denominator, so the mobile notification system has to have a seamless integration that goes on to the player as well. Now, coming to the third one, blockchain-based storage mechanisms. So essentially, the goal is pretty simple over here. How can we create something innovative and secure mechanism that can be used for decentralized applications here? So this is not necessarily related to DAOs per se, but it has applications within DAOs as well. The goal here is to check that which is the one that is tamper-proof and scalable manner. Because if you're going into the realm of data storage, then security and reliability is the number one aspect of this. I'll open up the requirements and evaluation criteria over here as well. Here, it can be not necessarily a full-blown version of the working product. It can be a prototype. It can be your own thesis for it as well, as long as you submit it with enough and required details on the DAO manager. So I believe all of you had seen Yash operate the DAO manager about how to create a channel, how to create a space, how to create your own community going forward. So what you have to do is essentially come out with a way on how can this be made possible and what you think is the right way to go about it. So as long as you have the documentation in place along with the required information and you can submit it, we can evaluate it on that front as well. And keeping in mind scalability, decentralization, security and scalability being the two real aspects of this particular boundary. Now, coming to the fourth one, sorry, before I go to the fourth one, any doubts on the third one, folks?
We do have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Adam was asking, is there an API available to use?
Yes, we can share the API. That's not a problem at all. If you're taking up the bounty, like in the Discord space, like you can either message me or Sean, and I can share the documentation of the API as well. I hope that answers the question, Adam. We'll share the document with you as well. Not a problem. Do let us know which is the bounty you will pick up as well, and then we can share it accordingly. Creating a gamification framework for community engagement in DAOs. So this comes down to the problem statement that I mentioned, right? So we work with a lot of DAOs, and one of the things that we had noticed is the lack of participation, because most of the time there is something of a concept of information overload, which deters people from being really active or trying to be in the core center of things, which leads to a situation where a few people are always participating, always active, but not the majority of the people who are idle in the community. So how do we go about solving this? Which can only be done by a gamification framework, because they should feel like if I complete X milestones, or if I can do this, then there is a benefit at the end of it, or they feel that it is super interesting or super engagement. Now, the framework can be designed to motivate users to participate in DAO activities like DAO calls or updates or voting, all of that. And essentially what we want to do is that use this as a method to activate all the members in the community. Now, this is not a theoretical concept that we are looking for, because anyone can create and write that, look, here are the 20 steps in which you can activate your community and send that to the community manager. But what we're looking for is a gamification framework. It should be enough to work with different kinds of DAOs. So if you are familiar with, if you look up gamification frameworks in the Web2 world for applications, for gaming applications, all of that, there are plenty of examples for you to borrow from. And DAOs, of course, being the future of work, I'm sure that can borrow a lot of ideas from there as well. Opening up the deliverables and the requirements as well. So the prototype is what we will be evaluating this one on, a working prototype of the gamification framework. Just 2 cents from my end is that you could always look at existing gamification frameworks in Web2 SaaS companies as well as e-commerce companies. There is a lot of research and work that has already been done on that front, which can be used to borrow ideas from there as well. Adam, I think for your question, just coming back to your question on this, we will be providing the API for this if you're choosing to work on this particular boundary, because it has to integrate with DAO manager. And in our tool also, we are always looking for new and more ways to activate more community members of our DAO. So this will be a real problem solver for us as well. Sean, did you say something, or was it Adam?
I think it's Adam, but his mic is rapidly muting, and there he goes.
Is that better?
Much better.
Yeah, much better, Adam.
So first of all, this is excellent. I love to see this as someone who's worked in DAO space for over 2 years. This is fantastic. So just beyond what you're proposing here, it's amazing to see what you've been able to accomplish. My question is regarding the last bounty. So it seems more like a framework. So it's less programmatic and more about just coming up with a good outline and a detailed system of how to approach something. Is that correct?
Are you talking about the gamification?
Yes.
Yes. So it's a mixture of both. Obviously, we will not expect you to build out a completely working model for a gamification, because that requires a lot of development effort. But it could be like a framework where you're applying a theory as well as how you could implement it using XYZ technology. For example, it could be like engagement metrics, and based on that, it might be game XP points or something along the lines of other normal silly engagement things, like how usually Facebook, when they were growing, they had the whole poke thing going, right? If you remember back like 13, 14 years back, it was like a small gamification thing. So since DAOs are all about people and bringing collaboration together, can we bring something like that on this as well? So if you could decide, or if you could hypothesize that this is the kind of thing that I want to build, and this is how I would go about it, or this is the approach that I want to take to do it, that will actually be enough for us to consider it. You don't necessarily have to build out the thing, but you can use our APIs to showcase that this is the right approach for me to go about it. And then, of course, the things like the required documentation, or what would you hypothesize is the timeline for doing so as well. But it's more about the concept and what would be the step 1 to 10. And here is a rough framework of doing it.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Hey, Adam, one more point on it. I think while everybody here is thinking about these frameworks, it's always a good idea to think of how you would go about deploying it for different communities. Now, that can essentially mean that if you are trying to create a standard that a community can replicate, for example, they look at your framework and they want to adopt it, there should be moving pieces or blocks which they can omit or like add. Which means that while you're giving a framework, I could like remove two elements from it and also have the flexibility of adding one and define my own like better suited gamification model. So what I'm essentially coming to is like, these are not absolutely necessary things, but if like any of the submissions we see deal with scalability problems, or like they tackle things such as like unique needs of every community head on, it would obviously like get some brownie points. So just wanted to like throw it out there.
Thank you. Yes, I'm aware that modulation is very important, and to be able to, as you said, remove things and reorganize them is fundamental as far as I see it, to be able to have a strong system. So, but thank you for reinforcing that.
Absolutely. And I think like a lot of these communities, they have the traditional basic model, which is like, hey, you do something and you get karma points and whatsoever. But also reflect on like which communities have actually gone ahead with these models and have they even worked. Like as long as there's a payout involved with those gamification points, people are working. But when the payout really goes out, that virtual currency or whatever you are giving in terms of rewards, it doesn't really like motivate contributors enough. So that's also like at the very core of the problem, which is how do you really solve for these tougher problems in a way which has not really been tried so far, or in a way that like is more promising than whatever has been tried in different communities.
Yes, you're absolutely right, and I'm very, very, very well aware of this scenario and this struggle. And again, having worked in the DAO landscape for 2 years now, it's I know it's an ongoing problem to solve. But I definitely agree with you guys here in knowing that this is something to work towards, and it will better the DAOs at large if there is a model that can be kind of adapted from what is currently being used.
Yes. No, you're right, Adam. And like Vikram said, right, the modular nature of it is, even when you would have seen Yash present our tool, we have also built the tool in a modular manner. You can switch on and off the particular features that you want, or something that helps you make DAO Manager customizable for your community. Like if you're a guild, if you're a DAO, if you're any other kind of community, there's always plug and play solutions. So similarly, the engagement framework would also work along the same lines. Moving to the next one, the utilizing AI in DAOs for insights, engagement, and compensation. So I believe all of you did see some aspects of Robin. Robin is our AI assisted tool, which exists in DAO Manager, which helps you, create bounties, or, even brainstorm on bounties, create proposals, helps you understand what is going on inside your DAO as well. But we believe that that's whatever we have explored is not necessarily the be all and end all of everything that is possible in a DAO. So we are looking for other innovative solutions to leverage AI to enhance the capabilities of DAOs. Now, it could be along the lines of, how do you grow your DAO? Like, how do you add meaningful members? How do you identify the right kind of people who should be joining a DAO? Or it could be along the lines of, how do I use AI to propagate my business model, or find that out? Because a lot of DAOs do struggle with having viable business models, where a lot of DAOs end up being just novelty concepts, where there is a group of people who have joined and then nothing tangible has really happened out of it, right? So anything and everything that involves the real applications of AI in DAOs will be considered for this, and mostly around engagement, compensation, insights, and all of that metrics as well. So here the deliverables are a little bit more straightforward. Like, it's essentially around a proposal outlining how AI can be used, and a working prototype. So of course the GPT APIs, or you could use DAO Manager APIs also for this. We'll be sharing for this, and also the documentation is super important for this, because we are integrating a third-party technology as part of the solution for this. So the documentation is one of the most important aspects over here, where the clear timeline solutions, what is the architecture, design, frameworks that goes into it, and the implementation timeline as well. So yeah, this is the 5 boundaries that DAOLens is sponsoring with Aragon. thanks for joining. But before, of course, we go, I want to know that just like Adam, if any of you have any doubts, please feel free to ask. All of us are here on the call to help you tackle these problem statements. Yes. Someone has messaged. Solution is proposal. Yes. So, Teng, the solution here is not just a proposal, which is why if you see there's a small working prototype, so you could showcase it in the manner that this is one of the use cases. So if you're proposing for, let's say, 4 use cases and you have documentation for 4 use cases, you would want a working prototype at least showing 1 or 2 of those features to begin with.
Hey, Palu, how would somebody reach out if they need access to APIs?
I have already given my email ID in the point of contact on Aragon. And of course, this information is available on Aragon's DAO Global Hackathon website as well. All this information plus the compensation also. This is just an internal documentation we had used to talk about the details of the bounty. Do ping me directly if you have any questions, or you can ask Sean. Always available to help. Really looking forward to you guys taking a shot at this bounties.